definitely, like, this is a really rich topic and brings up all kinds of experiences that people want to share. And not only that, there's good reason to share experiences on this path that I call the invisible path. The reason is that these experiences help each other find our way on the invisible path, because there's no map for the places that we are going today as human beings. No map. There is a map to go to the places that we've been going for generations, or you could even say for thousands of years. There's certainly a map of how to become a successful lawyer or business person, or a map of how to maximize your security. But there's no map for the new places that we're going today, because we're all pioneers as the age turns. So we are feeling out new paths. They're invisible not because that there's no path, but because the markers on the path are unfamiliar to us. We don't know what to look for. As we slowly, and the eyes that we use are not useful to see these new things. It's very abstract. I'll talk more about it. But we are learning to use our other senses and sharing our experiences with each other. How to avoid a dead end, how to avoid a swamp, what happens when you go into a very dark part of the path. So we are essentially each other's guides and each other's map makers. So I'm going to describe a 7-stage path from the old world to the new world. It's the personal dimension of a collective transition that humanity's gone through. I'm a bit spacey today, so please bear with me. It'll come through, but sometimes it takes pauses and delays. Okay, so the 7 stages of this invisible path, I'm going to present them as if they were a linear progression, but they're really not a linear progression. You'll probably find yourself inhabiting each of these 7 stages, maybe even every day. But one of them will probably be predominant in your life right now. I'm guessing for most of you it'll be stage 6. But sometimes other stages will dominate. And you might also think back to other times of your life that corresponded to other of these stages. So it's really not a linear progression, it's more of a fractal. What exactly the path leads to will emerge as I speak. But I think everyone understands already what I'm talking about. All right, so stage 1 of the invisible path I call idealism. It's something that we're all born into and that becomes strong when we're teenagers. And idealism is the feeling that the world that has been offered to us as normal is not normal. That the world's supposed to be much more beautiful than that. Life is supposed to be much more joyful than that. For me, it was that what passed for a happy marriage between my parents wasn't good enough. it's supposed to be much more joyous than that. And the human condition is an aberration and an abomination that we put up with. A world of violence and degradation and not even just the horrible violence, but even the normalcy of hating Monday. You know, work sucking, school sucking. Something in me couldn't accept that as foreordained and inescapable. So the feeling of idealism is when it speaks, it says, I'm never going to be a sellout. I'm never going to corrupt. I'm never going to be corrupted. I'm going to do something beautiful in my life. There's somebody at the door. Yep, just take off your shoes. Sorry. So I'm talking about stage 1 of a 7-stage path that I call the invisible path. And so stage 1 being idealism, the teenagers feeling that normal isn't normal, that good enough isn't good enough, that life is supposed to be more beautiful, and that I'm here to do tremendous things with my life. Well, very soon, these sentiments run up against some opposition, run up against the message of, well, that's all very nice, but that's youthful idealism, and you better major in something practical, because that's just the way things are. Or runs up against, you think that school isn't supposed to suck. You think that you shouldn't be doing things that you hate for external rewards. Well, you have a problem. You can't sit still at your desk. You can't make yourself pay attention to long division and the state capitals. You feel that there's something wrong with the history that we are giving to you. Well, you have a problem. There's something wrong with you, not with the world. You're feeling that the world is supposed to be more beautiful, that there's a wrongness in the world. No, the wrongness is with you. The world is fine. We get this message directly, and we get it indirectly. Because really, if there was something wrong with the world, would everybody really be obsessed with sports and celebrities? If the house were burning down, would we be talking about that kind of stuff? Like if you were at a house party and people were polishing the silverware, and you see flames somewhere, and you smell smoke, and you're like, hey, look, flames, smoke, and someone looks over there and goes back to what they're doing, and everybody in the whole room is doing that. You might begin to think that maybe you're imagining things. And if you really have trouble calming down, then somebody might just give you a drink. Here, have a stiff drink. That'll make you feel better. Have a Prozac. So there's a lot of forces that deny our idealism. And I'm actually kind of talking about my generation. A lot of what I say is especially true of my generation. Because I meet young people now who are born into a different world. Like they still get some of these voices denying their intuitions of a more beautiful world, but their main experience of life, like their parents, actually validate and support that feeling, and so their journey is different. And if you're one of those people, then you're probably going to go to much more beautiful places than my generation has been able to do. But a lot of people, even in you guys' generation, are still going through the same basic pattern. Okay, so there's this innate idealism that says the world's supposed to